Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Lucard, and I am an HMIS system administrator for Montgomery County. Today's training is the third of 4 income errors, how to find them, and how to correct them trainings. So if you're watching this, you've hopefully gone through the original how to do income in HMIS training and the first 2 income error trainings. Getting here means that you're nearly done. So let's get into it and let's take a look at today's 2 errors in HMIS. Again, as always, we're going to go into Client Point, and we're going to look up a client by their first and last name. We're going to only do a few letters. Of course, you can always look them up by their client ID if you know it. And let's do a few letters here. We're looking for a Mr. Brody Lee. Click on it. We can see that there's one here. Again, remember, we only want to do a few letters in the first and the last name column. 2 or 3 is fine, because we want to get the maximum possible search results. So we can see here's Brody Lee. Let's click on it. And again, because it's an income error, we're going to go into the entry exit. We can either go through the project start date here, or we can click on the entry exit tab in the project start date here. Same way, just 2 different ways of getting there. Let's click on the pencil. And let's go down to the income section. Here we go. Remember that the income section is income from any source, monthly income, and total monthly income. What kind of error do you see here? Should be pretty obvious at this point in the trainings. We can see that income from any source is answered. There's a yes. And total monthly income shows that there's $1,000. But there's one big obvious error here. See that angry red triangle we never want to see? This means that the HUD verification matrix, the monthly income benefit, has not been done. Remember, anytime you see that red angry triangle, it means that you need to stop what you're doing and get this fixed. When it's done correctly, we see the happy little green check mark right here. This is what we want to see, not the angry red triangle. And all we have to do to fix this error is go in and fill out the HUD verification matrix. Again, we are in the client's entry. There are no interims. Client's been in the system for about a month. The taping is May 13th, so we can see that they're a pretty new person into the program. They've been here for about a month and a week. So let's go in and let's do the HUD verification matrix. Remember, to get there, we click here. We don't click add. We don't ever want to click add. That actually causes more errors, or more potential for errors. I should be more specific on that. Because if you click the add button, you have to do all 15 pieces manually. It takes a long time. And if you forget one, you've made an error, because you have to get all 15 in. Doing the HUD verification, they're all right here, and you don't have to worry about missing anything, because it will let you know if you do. So let's take a look again. We see yes, so we know that they have some sort of income coming in, and we have a total monthly income of $1,000. So we know that this client here, Mr. Brody Lee, makes $1,000 a month. However, how do we know what's the answer? How do we know what they make? We need to go look at their client records, their intake sheet, their pay stubs, whatever they have. They should be coming in with something that tells you what income they have, if any, and how much. So since we're doing pretend here, we're going to say we go look at the records, and we see that the client has $500 in SSDI and $500 in retirement income. He's getting both. We're going to do 2 of them because we haven't done one where a client gets dual income yet. So we're going to put $500 in each, which will be $1,000, which will equal that $1,000. And again, you always want to check the records. You don't want to assume and just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, child support. You want to make sure you do the correct income that the client is getting. So to quickly fill out the HUD verification, we're going to do no. And that's going to put a no in all 15. Now all we have to do is pick the 2 that we're going to say yes, which we're going to say retirement income and SSDI. So let's click on the yes here. And this is going to bring up how much are they making. We'll say $500. And the start date, remember, the start date is not the date that they started getting the income on, because what if that income started in like 2011? We don't want to go back that far. We only want to go back to the project start date, which of course is the day that they agreed to be in your program. And so this is the income as of when they came into your program. So the start date is, what is the date that this income started? with the oldest date possible being your project start date. And because we're in the program entry, we're going to use the project start date. In an interim, the start date can change, as we all know. So if 2 months from now, this client gets an increase in his retirement income or his SSDI, we go in and do an interim with the start date of that interim. But right now, because we're doing the entry, the start date is going to be the project start date, the entry into the program, even if the client's actually getting the income for decades. So we're going to put it in, and we're going to leave the end date blank because it hasn't ended yet. We only put an end date in when it actually ends. We need it to be open-ended. We hit save. And now we're going to do SSDI. Again, we're going to say yes, $500, 4/6, because that's the date that he came into the program. We hit save. And there we can see no, 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 yes, yes, no, 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 no. We hit save and exit. And take a look. The angry green or the angry red triangle is gone, and we've got the happy little green check mark. We can see, yes, 1,000. We can see 500 and 500, which adds up to 1,000. View gross income, which is the most recent income that the client has in the system, regardless of what interim or entry you are in. And we can see 1,000. So 500, 500, 1,000. Yes, everything matches up. Everything's exactly like you need it to be. So you're good to go. Remember, income from any source, monthly income, and total monthly income must all match up. There can't be any logical fallacies, or you will get an error in your data quality reports. So let's head out from Mr. Brody Lee, and let's go on to the next client. All right, our next client is Ricky Starks, and we're going to just do, again, a first couple letters. Why? Because we don't necessarily know how he spells it. Because what if he's in here as Richard Stark? So we wouldn't do Ricky, because then we wouldn't get him. Or he could be in here as Dick Stark. So we want to be safe and see what we can get. So we're only going to do the first 2 letters. We're going to do R-I and S-T. We're going to do a search. And here he comes. Now, you might notice a Chris Statlander popped up as well. Why is that? Because she has R-I in her first name, and she has S-T in her last name as well. Again, that's because we only did the first couple of letters. So let's do Ricky now. We're going to go into his account, click on that pencil, save and continue. And let's find his income error at entry. Again, we have no interims in this client. We're doing it pretty easy for right now for you guys. So let's see, what is his income error at entry? Let's take a look. Oh, right away, we see that income from any source hasn't been done. And we can see the total monthly income is empty. So we can see that there are 2 errors. In fact, it's the exact reverse of the Mr. Brody Lee error. Brody didn't have his HUD verification done, but he had income from any source and total monthly income done. And here it's the reverse, where the HUD is done, but these are not. So this is a pretty easy fix. What we're going to do is we're going to look at HUD verification. And we see no all the way across, no income sources whatsoever. Another way to view it is we can click next, next, and do all 15 that way. Or we can click on the magnifying glass. And of course, we can see there is no monthly income. Now, if this is you're a new client and you come in because the previous case manager who's no longer here has this client, he was handed off to you, I would still double check the records, because what if they just whip through this and just put no in for everything to get through? Just double check. It's always good to double check the records, especially on the client entry, just to make sure that that's correct. In this case, we're going to say it is. They just missed these 2 questions, because it's entirely possible. We see it all the time. This is a very common income error. So if we know that the answer here is no, everything is no, 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 no. Pretty easy. All we have to do is click no here, put a 0 in here. Everything adds up. No, all 15 of these are no. Because these are all no, it's all zeros. So we put a 0 there. And that's all we'd have to do. And if he did turn out when we clicked HUD verification for income, we just do, if there was a yes in there, like let's say it was earned income $1,000. Earned income. You just have to fill in the stuff that was accidentally not filled out. In this case, we know, we're going to say that we know that Ricky here has no income whatsoever. So no, blank, no, everything is filled out correctly. But look what's going to happen when we try to save. It lets us. But did you notice there was another error on the screen that we should have done first? Let's go back in. Now, just because we're doing income errors doesn't mean we turn a blind eye to the other errors in the system. So as we can see here, non-cash benefits and health insurance were not filled out for Ricky. We can see that it says no there and no there, but someone just didn't do the HUD verification. So let's say these answers are right, but they just missed the HUD verification because it's very common. You'll go into a lot of clients' accounts and you'll see the red triangle and the case manager just hasn't fixed it for whatever reason, which isn't cool, but we know that when we see the angry red triangle, we need to fix it. So as long as we're here, let's get it in because we saw that out of the corner of our eye and we're a good case manager. We want high data quality. We want to make sure everything is good. We don't want any errors in our APR. We want to have that top tier ranking in the NOFA. So we're just going to fill these out. Pretty easy. No. Save and exit. There we go. HUD verification, health insurance. No. Save and exit. There we go. See, it took no time and we got those questions answered. And that's all we have for you today. This is a pretty quick training. Sometimes the errors are not rocket science. Sometimes they don't involve a lot of detective work like we saw with the first two trainings. These ones were pretty easy to spot and pretty easy to fix. And luckily that happens sometimes. Those are the kind of errors you want if you have any errors at all. Prefer to see no errors, but human error happens. No one is perfect. So thank you for joining us on part 3 of the 4 income error trainings. We've only got 1 to go. I hope to see you there. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, I appreciate you coming in and doing a training with me. Have a great day.